One.
Hello and welcome to this special meeting for the needs as part of the needs assessment. I want to thank everybody who already participated in the survey. We'll go over numbers, but I'm very excited about the participation in the survey in particular. This meeting today is hybrid. You can view it on YouTube and Facebook. Just please understand that that's about a 10-second lag when you're watching online. It's also available on the television. Please, if you have questions or would like to call in, that will be at the end of the presentation. Our consultant and Tool from Tool Recreation Planning will be giving a presentation. After the presentation, we'll ask for public comment. We'll limit public comment to 2 minutes so as many people have the opportunity to talk as possible. So I'm going to give the floor. Also in attendance is Doug. He's the chair of the Park and Rec Board. You want to say hello?
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming, both the people in person and online. We're really excited about this project, and we appreciate everybody's input. A very vibrant and extensive park system is really important to the community, not only to everybody's well-being and mental health, but also it's great for the economy and in our township and the surrounding community. So we look forward to your input. We're going to listen really well, and thanks again for coming.
And we also have Jim Majewski. And Jim, would you like to introduce yourself and say hello?
I'm Jim Majewski. I'm the Community Development Director. So I oversee a lot of the development in the township, including parks when they come in front of the Planning Commission, Zoning Hearing Board, and the Board of Supervisors.
Thanks, Jim. So, Ann, we're going to pass it to you. Ann, would you mind introducing yourself, please, for the group?
There, I had to unmute. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's a very important meeting to to show you where we're going with this wonderful park system over the next 10 years. What I do is I'm a certified parks and recreation professional. I, a long time ago, worked with Lower Makefield Township on their first plan and worked on the Oxford Valley roll-off site, did the master plan there. What I do is parks and recreation planning for a living. I once managed the planning program for the National Park Service for the 14 northeastern states. And since my daughter came along, I've been working on projects like this because it's near and dear to my heart to see these plans get implemented and for all of our communities to have wonderful parks and recreation systems. So what I would like to do is share my screen so that we can go through a PowerPoint about this project. It will enable you to see the purpose of the project, what we're doing, and where we're heading. So I look forward to hearing your comments and questions. I think this will take about 15 or 20 minutes. And then what we want to do is hear from you, both the people in the room and those from the comfort of wherever they are. So again, thank you. And I'm going to take a second here to share my screen. Okay, I'm going to turn the slideshow on. Okay. Give me a second here. All right. What we have is the Lower Makefield Township Parks and Recreation Needs Assessment with a strategic plan. We have I'm sorry. I just made a mistake here. I intended to put the Parks and Recreation Board members on here. We have some in the room, I believe, and online. So we have a wonderful Parks and Recreation Board and a Board of Supervisors that have been working collaboratively with us on this project. Kurt, the township, Ferguson, the township manager, and Monica Tierney, who introduced us. We've been very closely joined on this whole project. What this project is a needs assessment to find out in the community what the public wants in terms of parks, recreation, open space, and trails. Our process includes an assessment of the existing facilities. We did a trolley tour that was a lot of fun, where we got out and actually looked at facilities. And I'm very familiar with the facilities in your community as well. Our whole process is rooted in public engagement. That's the most important part of what we're doing. I hope that you have completed the survey. And it's a fun survey to do. It only takes about 5 minutes. And we hope that you have filled it out, and that we ask your family and friends to do that as well. Our schedule, in addition to the public opinion survey, we have about 2,000 responses right now. So it's a very significant return. We're also have been doing focus groups with community organizations like Organized Sports, with the Parks and Recreation Board. We have several people that serve as our project advisors that we've been meeting with. This public meeting, we'll have another public meeting, and by the end of March on the schedule here, we will have a complete plan with recommendations that the Board of Supervisors will adopt. Why this plan is important is that recreation's really an investment, not a cost. I'm actually writing a book for the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission it'll be published in December on the return on investment, that actually documents the value of every dollar that the township puts into parks and recreation. As you can see on this screen, that for every dollar the municipality puts in for parks and recreation, another $1.42 gets spent in the community. And we know that parks and recreation builds community, it deters crime, it deters addiction. It helps our youth go do the right thing time after time, instead of the things that we worry about, because we're all on video all the time. So here's what we do in Parks and Recreation in Lower Makefield Township. I think it's important for people to understand the extent and nature of the work here. We have a major park system that has a pool, a golf course, the community center. We have 14 parks with, it's about 587 acres. We have 5 Mile Woods. The Parks and Recreation Department, it has been going gangbusters on programming, with over 150 programs, with an 8-week summer camp, a bunch of community events. They rent facilities and provide support for all the sports leagues in the community. It's an extensive system that's really wonderful. We know from the survey findings so far that you agree, that you think Lower Makefield Township's Parks and Recreation system you rate it as good to excellent. So on the park system, we have about 23.5 acres of parkland per 1,000 residents. About over 15% of the township is in land that's owned by the county, state, and federal governments. We're fortunate in having everything all the way over to the river and the towpath and the state park, with all of the 14 acres of parkland, 14 parks with 750 acres of township lands. Our parks and recreation facilities, here are shown on this map. If you're looking at the map on the screen, we're going to make this PowerPoint available on the township website too, and you'll be able to really zoom in and drill down on this. But the parks are if you'll see my cursor, are the bright green. There are parks and recreation facilities. You can see that they're well distributed through the county. We have some small ones right along here, but all the way over to the river where the state park is, we have a wonderful system of parks. What we're working towards is connecting them. What we're hearing on the survey is that the trails and pathways are at the top of your list on what you want the township to continue to do. There's already 25 miles in place, and I'd stack that up against any municipality in Bucks County. I think that you're a leader in a bike paths. We have 2 that are planned to come online soon, and the township has already secured some grant money to help do that. Our issue with the bike path system is that we have gaps, and it's hard to create those trail linkages. So we're looking ahead at how to do that. This is your township with the river on the top, so you could see the map. What this shows is the open space that is developable. So if you look at the bright green parcels here, you'll see the sites that are vulnerable to development. They total more than 1,000 acres, about 1,000, but we're over on that. So you could see what is developed. The township property is all in dark blue. So you could see what the township already owns. And your park system is way more than your land and your recreation facilities. It's about nature. We're hearing how important it is for the residents of this community to connect to nature. They value those connections very much. The programs and services are growing since Monica came on. The program offerings are tremendous for people of all ages and many different interests. Supporting the park leagues, supporting the sports leagues is tremendously important because they provide services that the township cannot provide on its own. In another project, I interviewed a judge, and his quote to me was, "I've never had anyone appear before me who played youth sports." So it's really very important to support the sports leagues because we really couldn't afford to do it on our own. And all in all, the Parks and Recreation system builds an important sense of community. And in a community like Lower Makefield, that's a residential community where people work in Philly, Princeton, New York, all over, and come here, that this system is your main street. This is where family and friends, where you bump into each other and you get to know who's in your community by showing up at parks and in programs. The most important thing we have to do is take care of what we have. That's a very strong message that I've heard from unanimously from everyone we've talked to. The crews do a really great job with what they have. You have a small crew with a relatively small budget. And over the lifetime of a park, 75% of the cost is in maintenance. So for every dollar that you spend on acquiring and developing a park, another $4 is required to take care of it. And the township can't do it alone. We do have a number of community organizations that support parks and keep them going, but through their volunteer work, they do everything from plant trees to ref at sporting events. Most of the funding comes through a mix of public and private resources. What we know from the township is that this township invests about $39.42 per capita on operating parks and recreation every year. That's about average in the state. in the nation, it's about $81. So we have an average amount that we're doing good here. We're pretty much doing what the rest of Pennsylvania's municipalities do in public support. So what we're hearing is the facility from you in the public is that the facilities are good to excellent. The programs are good to excellent. And when we ask people what they do in the parks, the top 3 uses of what people do when they go to the parks is enjoy nature, walk and run, and attend special events. The program priorities, looking ahead for what the kinds of programs that your public would prefer are nature, fitness, and adult programs. So optimizing our parks and recreation for the future is important. While you have a great park system, there are things that you need more of or that are missing. We need more athletic facilities. We're missing things like an amphitheater, a skate park, a pump track, a BMX course, kind of the activities that are non-organized sport facilities for those who prefer to do more different things than participate on an organized team. So you'll see in the next segment on slides are our findings from our survey. So when we ask what people do when they visit the parks, out of all of these choices, you can see that enjoy nature, the big blue bar, is the top thing that people do when they visit the parks, followed by walking and running. And the third highest is hiking. Oh, yes. Sorry, I'm mixing my colors up here, folks. Hold on. It is hiking, then bicycling, and tied is exercise and playing or watching sports, coming in at 5th, tied at 5th. So you could see what the general public does when they visit parks. When we ask what kind of improvements they would like to see, no surprise here, the top of the list is improved restrooms. That comes in all the time at the top of the list. Better restrooms, followed by the trails, the expanded trail system. The third highest preference for improvements in the future from the public at large are open space and nature areas. And after that, at 4th, is more sports fields, followed by pool improvements. No, excuse me, expanded community center comes in at next. So you could see the pattern here. When we asked about programs, the #1 type of programs that people want are sports first, followed by physical fitness and mental strengthening types of mental health types of activities, followed by adult programs, with special events and family programs coming in next. And with the last one being school age programs, 5th. So we kind of ask people to put their money where their mouth is in a fun exercise where the respondents get to move coins around to the 8 choices that we provided of where would you spend $100. The respondents, the highest response for money, people were this is about $17 came in at for athletic facilities, followed by conservation and sustainable areas, that would be nature. And this one is quite remarkable, park maintenance. In all of the surveys that I do, I have never seen a park maintenance emerge as high as this is. So this is quite a statement that the public is actually willing and wanting to spend their money on park maintenance. That's a powerful message from this survey. And after that, we have park improvements and bicycle trail expansion evenly split. So when we take all of this information from what we've been hearing from individuals, key stakeholders, groups, general citizens, kind of intercept surveys as we bump into people in the parks, what we find is the strengths of this system is very important and powerful. They believe that in this township, parks, recreation, and trails are a township priority. They're supported every quarter for parks, recreation, and trails. The public's heavily involved, as you heard, that's the foundation of our project here. The facilities are clean and safe. They function well, and when you see a need to improve them, you do. You recently conducted a pool study to make improvements in the pool, and you're moving ahead with improvements there. There's a high satisfaction with programs. There's a lot of public and private support for what happens in parks, recreation in this township. And the investment is significant. You could see the community center, the pool, the improvements in the parks, the playgrounds, the tennis courts are being repaired, what's happening at Memorial Park, new pickleball courts, which is an important trend that we have to pay attention to. And the department is an industry leader, not only in Pennsylvania, but nationwide. You, by the summer, will become the first certified Parks and Recreation Department by the National Recreation and Park Association, the first one of 2,560 municipalities in Pennsylvania. And there's only nationwide 350 CAPRA certified Parks and Recreation departments. So my hat's off to Monica and Kurt, the Board of Supervisors, and the Parks and Recreation Board for achieving such a prestigious certification. So we look forward to the finalization of that by the summer. Challenges are tough. We need to balance what we provide for the residents and all the stakeholders. There's so many demands and interests in parks and recreation and trails that finding the balance is important. There'll never be enough resources to do everything we want to the 100% level. So we need to, just like at home, you have to balance your budget and balance what you choose to do. That's what we need to do in our park system. Most important is taking care of what we have and upgrading what we have. We don't have enough athletic fields to meet the needs, and we need to provide more diverse opportunities. I was kind of referring to that with the more action sports, the arts, music, dance, drama, facilities and opportunities for those. There's limited open space remaining, and it's expensive. The community center is undersized for your investment in that. It's very small, and it's not as functional as it could be. The trail system's wonderful with 25 miles, but our major gaps are tough. Gaps in trails are tough. And Snipes has been 18 years in the making. So what we're recommending in opportunities and directions is what you'll see next. And it's what we're interested in your comments and questions on primarily. We'd like some feedback because this section will form the basis of recommendations for the plan and the actual document that we will develop in partnership with all of you. So our top goal is to strive to achieve balance in parks and recreation opportunities. We want something for everyone. We need to move forward with Snipes as a true community park with a balance of sports facilities and things that can be used at 365 days a year from dawn to dusk at times other than when organized sports are being played. And that includes pathways, a playground, a pavilion, restrooms, beautification, landscaping is really important, parking, adequate parking and bicycle access. We all know that our Makefield Park is beloved, aging, and overused, overprogrammed. So we're recommending a professional assessment of Makefield Park regarding the number and type of fields, parking and access. And we're recommending that we approach this assessment by using traffic counts so that we actually document the number of cars that are in there. We know that the parking is far from adequate in the park. We need a plan to optimize 5 Mile Woods. 5 Mile Woods is a treasure. It's about 185 acres, I believe, and it's around 200 acres. It really is a treasure. It's a diamond in the rough. It really needs improvements. Now with the, sorry. I have to go back 2 slides. We need to carry out the plan to improve the Lower Makefield Township swimming pool. And we need to continue to work on the bicycle connections so that we have a community that's green and connected with safe places to bicycle and walk. We need to address the remaining open space. As I mentioned, Jim's been really super in helping us to understand the picture of Lower Makefield Township regarding open space. So we may need to explore when we're looking at some of the previous recommendations, like looking at Macclesfield, moving ahead with Snipes in some fashion, and the needs that we have for additional facilities and more sports fields. We need to explore, well, what else is out there where we may be able to locate some additional facilities. Working with the Pennsbury School District is a tremendous opportunity right now. Dr. Tom Smith has participated. We had a work session with him, and collaborating with the school district and the municipalities within the school district on how we may get together to look at programs to serve middle and high school students. Fewer than 30% of the students are involved in after-school activities. And we know that this age group, 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders, we have to get that age group. It is absolutely a critical age group to reach to ensure that they participate in healthy, active lifestyles in a good and safe way. Our last recommendation of the 9, you saw there were, we have a total of 9 opportunities and directions, is to continue the operational excellence. I'm so impressed by the superb management and operation of this township. You have a cadre of talented, committed, passionate professionals who work hard every day to produce the kind of experiences that you now have in your public parks programs and on your recreation facilities. My hat's off to them. It has been a joy to work with this township because of that excellence in management. They are supported by a committed board of supervisors and a Parks and Recreation board that listens and responds and tries to do the right thing all the time. And that shows. It shows in the survey. It shows in the use of your parks. So I want to underscore the importance of continuing with that excellence. Whoop, sorry. So now it's your turn. You've heard about our process, our findings, what we think is important based on what we've heard from you, directions that we're considering going. So we would like to open it up to hear your comments and your questions, and we welcome them. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay, is there anybody in the audience who would have any comments or questions? Would you come to the podium, please? We're going to have you on a 2 minutes, just to keep it brief. And could you tell me, do we have anybody on the line for public comment?
Yes, we do. We have 2 people on the line.
Okay. So please just say your name and address.
Yep. Hi, Mike Corso, 261 Springdale Terrace. So as a resident, I have 2 daughters, 17-year-old and a 14-year-old. So we've been involved numerous programs as a parent, volunteer, all the different athletic sports. I'm here as a parent from YMS, and the survey was pretty interesting to review it, and seeing the results. There was 2 things I think in particular was the athletic fields and the need for improvement. I think were 2 things in particular that were highlighted. And for those that know soccer or just a lot of the athletic field sports, the fields take a beating. They take a pounding. So they're used every day, hours upon hours upon hours. Between the township, between our own field staff, we do our best to kind of maintain them as much as possible. But between the growth that we're having and the usage, the challenge that we're having is just the quality. And it's clear that it has taken a bit of a nosedive. We do have a turf field there that we use as much as can humanly possibly be used. I mean, it's used through the winter even. And what we're finding is that now we're maximizing that, right? So what we would like to do is kind of work with you and to be a part of the solution, right? How can we work together? Can we get additional space? Is there a way to put an additional turf field? Because the synthetic material can take that pounding. It allows you to use it effectively, use it as much as possible. Obviously, there's going to be maintenance costs and things like that, but it is something that we feel can allow us to get more benefit of the space. And like I said, we would like to work together as an organization. So, that was basically the comments that I had. Is there any questions or anything? Or
No, great. That's in line with other comments.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi there. My name's Cameron Lackport, 28 Sunnyside Lane. A question for you. I'm sorry, I'm looking over at this. What is open space? What does township open space mean? I mean, I know what the words mean. That's easy, but how do you manage open space?
Well, there's several types of uses for open space. There's open space that's just a natural area. Woods, wetlands. There's also open space that are farm fields, open space that are open fields. Some of the open space that we have in the township inventory consist of detention basins that are stormwater management facilities designed to handle runoff from development that's going on in the area. So there's lots of definitions of open space. We're actually looking to give a better breakdown of that. We did a township inventory about a year or 2 ago, and on that we try to break down every parcel that the township owns and break down how much of it is wooded, how much is used, and for what. So that is a good question.
So is I guess the way it's managed is over time you look at what needs are, what can be done with the land, and then does it get sold to private individuals or corporations, or is this something that the township's always going to hold? Again, I'm sorry, these are silly questions, but I've just never thought about it.
Yeah, there are limitations on the township's ability to sell land. Depending on how the land was purchased, sometimes the land can't be sold. And if it was sold, you have to sell it to the highest bidder, get a appraisal for it. to make sure that you're getting a fair market value for what you're proposing to sell. But typically, the township doesn't really sell off open space
Okay.
in general. There might be a few exceptions, but generally, when a township owns open space, it was for a purpose, either for recreation, for natural preservation, for farmland preservation, for stormwater management. So it typically has a use that wouldn't really apply to selling it to another entity.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thanks.
I'd like to hop on with Jim on that too, is that there are about 1,000 acres of land in the township that are open, that are not owned by the public, by the township. And they are the acres that are vulnerable to development. So what the township has done in the past is Patterson Farms, the perfect example. The township preserved Patterson Farm so that it would forever be open space. So that's a really good example of what we were talking about with the 1,000 acres that remain.
Okay, with no more in-person questions, can we go to the phone? Oh, just kidding. I'm sorry. We had one more in person and then we'll go on to the phone. Okay. It's up to you.
Yeah, lovely. Hi, I'm Cyril. My name is Cyril, Cyril. Last name is Tuohy, Tuohy, and I live at 3 Tudor Lane. And I'm with YMS, and I'm on the Fields Committee. So I spent a lot of time at the Fields. And as we all know, they're under a lot of duress and undue pressure. And there's been a lot of talk of hopefully getting snipes, and for sure that would alleviate the pressure. So I just wanted to reiterate the importance of that, or maybe turfing Field D for us. And but I did want to point something out that having been there every weekend 3 years, it can now take maybe half an hour in the fall for a car to move from the back pavilion all the way to the river. So 30 to 40 minutes gives you a sense of how overcrowded that is. And I got to tell you, on a couple of occasions, I have seen huge pickup trucks back up and the car in front of them just slam on the brake. And even sometimes 2 or 3 year olds running out once or twice. And the liability risk is really getting we're really treading on thin ice, I think. So that's just something to think about. I know you all know these issues. But I just thought I would throw my 2 cents in as somebody who's been to the park at Makefield, working on the fields for YMS over the past 4 years. So thanks very much. And I appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you. Okay, we'll take the first phone call, please.
Okay, we have Kristen in the room with us.
Okay, Kristen, could you please state your name and address for the record, and then 2 minutes for your comment? Thank you. Kristen, you can press *6 to unmute. Kristen, if you could press *6, you will unmute.
Hello, sorry, technical difficulties.
Yes, no problem. Welcome to the room. Could you please give us your name and address for the record? And then you have 2 minutes for comment.
Sure, my name's Kristen Zeke. The address is 600 Leslie Lane.
Okay, Kristen, thank you. And what would you like to comment on today?
This is more of a question, and I don't even know if this is the right forum to address something like this, but we have a family of 6 in our household, and the new structure of the way that the cost of the pool is laid out, I just think needs some tweaking. I understand why you'd want to make those modifications and why they'd be necessary to satisfy a large population within the community. However, for larger households like mine, the cost of the pool went from $430 a season to $670 a season. That's a 56% increase. So it really puts larger families at a disadvantage with the new a la carte option, or it's not even an option, that's the new structure. So I would just like to recommend there be a family cap on the membership. I don't know if that was thought of, but I just wanted to address that because it's been a concern of mine since that announcement was made.
Kristen, this isn't really the format for that. This is for future planning of the parks. But if you would like to call into the park board meeting on Tuesday, that might be a better, or you can call me anytime during the week and we can discuss that also.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure, but I thought I'd at least bring it up. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Can we take the next caller, please?
Yes, we have Bill in the room with us now.
Hello?
Hi, Bill. How are you? Could you please give us your full name and address, and then you have 2 minutes
Yes,
for
indeed.
comment.
Yes, indeed. My name is Bill Gabota, and I live at 1230 Ash Lane in Lower Makefield. I just have a few comments. First of all, I completely agree the Parks and Rec people are doing a great job. I would like to see more resources devoted to the maintenance crews. They have too much to do with too few resources. Unleash them, I say, and let them run. Point two, as far as expansions go, I love the idea of extending and connecting the bike paths all over. It would be great to be able to bicycle from one end of LMT to the other. And finally, regarding the Snipes track, it's become sort of a wild nature reserve over the last 18 years. And I think any development that's done to it should be done with an extremely light hand. My preference would be turning it into walking paths and places to watch the birds. That's really all I have, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. Is there anybody else in the room who would like to speak? Sure, come on up to the podium.
Sure. Robert Davison, 995 Plowshare Road. Really just more kind of supporting what's already been said. Well, first of all, I want to thank you. I think this is outstanding. I love that you guys are putting back in the community. I have 4 kids, all play sports. So starting with the first highlight, it was around improving what we already have. And I think that's a huge first step. I'm part of YMS. We're down at Makefield probably 5 out of 7 days. And the fields are really in bad shape. They're actually kind of starting to get unsafe for the kids. So I think, putting more resources into how do we improve that facility would be a huge step in the right direction. And then the second step, or the second point was, expanding, getting into big, more field opportunities. And I think that does 2 things. One, it alleviates Makefield. Like Cyril said, some Saturdays it's hard to get out when there's football, soccer down there, and then other people enjoying the facility. So I think if you can shift to other areas, that's going to alleviate, that area. Plus, I think it's going to alleviate the use of the field so that they can improve over time. Give them, that time to heal themselves so that we can enjoy them and shift the fields around within Makefield. So I think that's everything.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate it. Come on up.
Yeah, hi, my name is Nick Hayes, and I live on 1200 Knox Drive. I'm another YMS coach. A little different from most of them, though. I came here 30 years ago. You can tell I'm from out east. And, when I first came here, we played up at the school. And eventually Makefield Park went in. Makefield was great. It was terrific. The back part of Makefield was never done because there was an issue with the Trafalgar group down there. And eventually that became soccer fields, and it was great. But what's happened of late is the deterioration of those fields has been absolutely chronic. And I think people are being kind of nice here. Those fields are positively awful now. You wouldn't ask a golfer to play on a tee with holes and ruts and weeds in it. Yet we think it's okay for young kids to go out there, roll their ankles, have problems with the fields, not be able to play the game. And by the way, the club has had 2 national champions. There's no other sports team in this town that can say that. So, and what that does is it brings people to our township. It's what attracts residents. It's what attracts people to be part of our group. It brings in revenue. The tournaments bring in revenue. All of that works to the good. So what I would urge you to do is to look at the maintenance. It's really an issue, and it's a big issue. That, along with snipes not being developed, which we all thought was a solution at one time, just makes it even worse. And on top of that, I noticed in the slides that they said 30% of the students in the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, whatever that stat was, yeah, that's Pensbury. I wonder what it is in LMT. Because my guess is it's a lot higher. So you're addressing a huge chunk of the township here and a lot of your ratepayers. And I think you have to get this right, because right now it's deteriorating. And we used to go around to all the clubs in the area. Clubs come to us. We'd be the top facility. We're no longer even close to that. So I would urge you to address that issue and partner with the club. The club's a very willing participant. You don't have to spend all the township's money on it. The club already spent $500,000 on a turf field down there. We're not averse to spending money. Talk to us, involve us, make us part of the solution, not part of the problem. Okay, that's what I gotta say.
Is there anybody else in the audience who would like to speak? Hi, George.
Hi, George Schleben, 1035 Harvard Drive. And I'm also the president of YMS. And I'm not going to continue. I'm not going to say anything further than what everyone said here, but I hope you see by the showing we have here tonight, we've got some of our young players here. And we have what's great about having the young players and some like Nick who have been in the program for 30 years. We have a very passionate club and a group of people that I have seen in the past year hearing about this project really starting to come together and want to be part of the solution, as Nick said, and make a difference. So we're here to work with you guys. And I also want to thank you, Monica, and thank you, Ann, for hearing us sports organizations out. And this is a tremendous amount of time you guys are putting in, and thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for participating. If you don't know, George is part of the subcommittee. He's part of the league committee. He's been very involved with this whole process. So, George is here again tonight. So just want to let you know that he has really invested some time with us in partnership. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Are there any more callers on the line?
Nope, no more callers.
Okay, and no more audience comment? Okay, well, Ann, do you have anything further to discuss?
No, I really very much want to thank all of the people who commented. Everything you had to say is of great value to us, especially since you came out either live and in person or online via Zoom. It really matters when the public speaks. I know that the Board of Supervisors, the Parks and Recreation Board, the Township Manager, and Monica all listen. What was particularly gratifying to hear was how people want to be part of the solution. They're not expecting government to do everything. You actually want to participate and have done significant investment and volunteer hours for 30 years now. So I very much want to thank you for all that you had to say. And it's part of our foundation of the plan is listening to people. So thank you very much.
Just one final thing, the survey is still open. The link is on the website until midnight tonight. You can take the survey. So please, if you have not taken the survey, now is the time. We extended a little bit longer until today because we wanted to give you the opportunity until after you saw everything. So midnight tonight is the last time you could take the survey. So if you haven't taken it, I urge you to please participate. Give us all your feedback. There's little bubbles in there that you can write your own comments in. We really want to hear from you. It's very important to us. I believe, Ann, have we made it to 2,000 yet? Do you know?
We only need 12 more.
12 more.
12 more.
Tell 12 of your
That's all we
friends,
need.
please.
You certainly
and
have 12 people that you know and love who you can get to do this.
So I really thank you for all your participation in this process, and we'll give a deeper dive into the survey results at the park board meeting on Tuesday night. So it's also hybrid, just like this meeting. If you would like to participate in that, same thing, online, in person, all the things. So thank you so much.
Hey, Monica, really
And-
quickly, we
Oh.
just had one person calling online for public comment.
Oh, we have a caller. Okay,
Yes, we
let's
do. I
bring him
can bring Lisa right on in. Okay, Lisa's in the room with us now.
Could you state your name and your address?
Sure. It's Lisa Tenney, Tenney, 156 Pinnacle Circle, Yardley.
Hi,
Lower
Lisa.
Makefield.
How are you? we have
Good,
2-minute
thank you.
time limit tonight. Oh, good. Good to hear
Okay.
from you. Thank you.
Good, good. Yeah, thank you. So I moved here a couple years ago. My husband and I are almost retired. So I have no kids that are right now using the facility. So I would like the idea of, I do ride a bike, to perhaps have more biking trail connectivity, as someone else has stated. I also really love being outdoors and surrounded by nature. So my hopes would be a place to walk and just sit on a park bench and grab a sandwich and eat and enjoy nature. I mean, I don't think there's any better thing than that. And bird watching. So, nature is a wonderful thing and should be viewed as an asset. I hear the pain with the athletic fields, but also I think Memorial Park, now that it has the pickleball courts, it really doesn't feel like a place that I'd want to go just to sit and enjoy nature. I think the golf course is great for recreation, for older adults. It might be nice to have more clubs and things that older adults and retired people could do as engaging activities. So those are my suggestions from where I'm at now in life. But, the pool and the golf course are wonderful assets. So thank you, Monica.
Thank
for
you, Lisa. I really
making
appreciate
all those things happen.
That's 2 minutes. That was perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. It was a great idea to have the survey too.
Great. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night. Well, I appreciate everybody's time and all the viewers online. I appreciate it. We are going to put all the maps that were shown today plus are in the back of the township building. They will move to the community center and be posted for you to come in during the day anytime and take a look at them. We are also going to post them online under the needs assessment link where we've been putting information as we go. So that will be posted hopefully tomorrow. We'll just keep on providing information through email, social media, and you can always find it on the website. So stay in the loop, keep getting involved. We really appreciate you, and tell your friends. So thank you so much and have a nice night.